Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here, broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations. Today's Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025. This is the NFL Draft Eve, and we are here on Strictly Football, a division of the Unhappy Hour Sports Show. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We have I'm pointing opposite ways. We have right here Jim Mitchell. We have right here Mike Bara. And the draft is tomorrow. This is the Super Bowl for the Cleveland Browns fan. Like, this is finally the year we're going to turn everything around with a perfect draft.
The day before. So I think I know it's exciting. This is the best day. This is the best day in the NFL after the Super Bowl and before the first game. So there we are. This is
absolutely.
Good as so here we go.
Super excited for all of the transactions that are about to occur. We have all sorts of rumors and we have all sorts of fun. I believe the plan today is we're going to go through 2 rounds of the NFL draft. We're going to cap it at 2. We talked about 1, but 2 feels good because there's a lot of players that are going to slide into that second round.
I mean, my Seahawks have 2 second-round picks, so depending on what Jim does with the first-round pick, I can take the first second-round pick and do what I want. So we'll put our GM manager's hat on. And a lot of the teams we have to know, we don't really know what teams are thinking. We don't really know what they want. As teams come up, I'm going to mention rumors that I've heard and things that I've read. But one of the things that's really extraordinary, Jim, is that this is the first time in history since the, quote, common draft era, which is 1960 or so, that nobody has traded a first-round pick before the first round. Nobody. That's never happened before. So this is a weird year, and I don't know what that means. I mean, you guys, Brian or Jim, do you have any idea what that means? Are teams just deciding are they all being super cautious? Why is that happening? Anybody have a thought? Jim, you got a thought?
Is that something that's usually before the actual draft?
Before. I mean,
I thought everybody's just linked up on telephones, making deals, and then they either trade up or trade down.
And every year prior to this that they've had a draft, somebody has traded their first round pick, at least one. And not this year. Nobody has traded their first round pick.
And remember, this isn't always about the 2025 draft, for example. This is about the remnants of the shitty Deshaun Watson trade. You trade 2 or 3 first-round picks away, and it lingers for draft after draft after draft. So it's not like every year there's moving and shaking, but the repercussions of years past, the ghosts of failed and successful trades past, they linger. But the first time in the common draft era that every team owns it's wild. I know the Steelers were very notorious about always keeping their pick, staying in the position they are, really rarely making trades. Mm-hmm. But I know the Cleveland Browns, Andrew Berry, the general manager, he's all about wheeling and dealing, and the franchise has been that way for a while. And the rumor today is that we are heavily fielding calls for number 2, perhaps trying to make something happen and setting up our way to jump back into the back end of the first round to maybe get a quarterback and get the extra 5th year, probably bundling our number 2 pick right at the top of the second round and some other capital to jump into 29, 30, 31, 32. But none of it's come to fruition yet.
That's interesting. And also, Jim, with the Seahawks, I read a rumor just the other day. There's a couple rumors with the Seahawks. One, Adam Schefter has hinted strongly twice that they're going to take a quarterback. And by that, he means either the first or second round, but I think he's hinting the first. That doesn't mean that's what you have to do, but he's hinting that's what they're thinking. The other thing we're hearing is that the Seahawks are interested in trading Kenneth Walker Jr., their running back, who's a really good player, but does occasionally leave yards on the field and gets injured, usually misses 2-3 games or has games where he's only at 80%. They're looking at dealing him, and they're apparently keeping close track on Ashton Genty, that they're very interested in Genty. So should Genty fall to the Raiders in our mock or in the real draft, then there could be some interesting action there because, Pete Carroll and John Schneider, they've already made a deal. So who knows? So those are interesting rumors that are out there.
Yeah. In my mock draft, I had something very interesting happening with the Ravens.
Let's
get to it.
Mike froze.
I think that's where we're going with that. All right. Okay, I think you froze up, Jim. What were you saying, sir?
Is that Genty's probably going to be gone. The intel is that he's either gone to the Jaguars or the Raiders. So I even though he's a little guy, I mean he's a bowling ball, with knives. I mean he's like 5'8", and he's supposed to go Jags or Raiders. I don't see him falling to that far.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out when we do our mock. The thing is, it's apparently has created this is that their star defensive tackle, the Raiders, whose name escapes me,
Max Crosby. No, that's the end.
That's the end. The tackle has got an injury that's lingering, and they're concerned about that. And they might pass on Genty to move back, pick up some extra picks, get back the third they gave up for Geno Smith, and take a defensive tackle. So that's kind of what's fueling that, but that's all speculation. So we shall see.
All right. Well, maybe we should jump into. And by the way, I'm not even convinced that Genty's the best running back in the class. I'm not convinced of that.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that Cam Ward is the surefire number one pick. It'll all shake out when we play this game and we do our draft. But for real, there are some really talented players, and the lack of confidence in declaring somebody. What is that quote, Mike, where they say, if you want to crown their ass, crown their ass.
Yeah. If you want to crown their ass, crown their ass. That was
Dennis Green?
Dennis Green.
Yeah. Cardinals. I mean, I'm not crowning any of these players yet. Nobody's proven anything. You've showcased us a year, maybe a couple of years of talent. It's going to be about your work ethic, about the team that you're surrounded with, and not just your team. I mean, your family, your close. There's so much that goes into drafting a player and knowing who their inner circle is, how well their head is screwed on, their work ethic, their drive to give a shit. Not everybody has the same intangibles, and it's going to matter where you go to what team and how they're going to develop you. You're just getting some raw clay. It's up to the artist of all 32 teams to figure out how to take that talent and turn it into something. But
yeah, the organization and the coaching staff is obviously critical.
Yeah, just to add on what you said, Brian, these guys probably aren't as hungry as they were, the past couple of years, because a lot of them are coming out, and it's been said, a lot of these guys are making more money than the guys that are scouting them, and they're pulling into the parking lot of the stadiums, in their Beamers and Porsches.
They've already made millions. A lot of these guys have already made millions, and we do not know yet, Jim, you're right, how that's going to impact the kind of players you get at the top of the draft anymore. These are all guys that have NIL transferred 2 or 3 times in some cases.
Yeah. The answer to all your questions is money, right, Mike?
Yeah.
No, the transfer worked well for Will Howard. Several players. It's very interesting. Yeah, I've even heard it said that there's going to be situations where players are going to make more in their NIL deals than their NFL deals. Maybe we're not exactly there yet, depending on where people fall. But they're not going to be as starving for something just to get, some sort of fiscal balance in their lives. But let's not pretend it's a new thing. It's not like this is the first time college athletes have been paid. They just over the table, under the table. Right. LeBron James was driving a Hummer at 17 years old or 16 years old, whatever it was in high school. And you go, how the hell did he get that? Yeah, he got an advance on, future earnings. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Let's not overthink it. Let's not overthink it. But maybe let's not overthink it could be the title, the theme of today's show. Let me see. This was good in the beginning, but maybe I want to see a bigger screen.
I think the configuration, the way you had it, is probably better.
That is okay. So let's see how we're going to do this. Mike, you're going to be piloting this craft.
Yeah. And so how we'll do it is we're going to do 2 rounds. We've selected our 2-round draft. All teams are selected. So we're going to be making every pick. We're just simply going to rotate. I'm going to start with the Titans. You're a Cleveland Browns fan, so you pick for Cleveland. Jim is going to pick for the Seahawks in the first round. I'm going to pick for the Seahawks in the second round. And then I guess Jim's going to make the other second round pick. So TV's Blake Wally is scheduled to join us to make the Vikings pick. So we're going to set up the thing, just say enter the solo draft. It's going to be a 2-round mock. And as it stands now, the Tennessee Titans are on the clock. So let me take a look at how that looks on the screen.
Now, how do we want to do? Do we want to flip a coin to see who drafts for him?
No.
You want to take it?
No, I think we'll be fine. Yeah, I think no. You mean who drafts for Blake or
no for Tennessee? Just to kind of get it going.
No. I look. We all know. I know what Tennessee's gonna do. I think I know. I think you know. I don't think you do. We want you to have the Browns pick. Jim, do you want the first pick or do you want the Giants pick? I just thought I'd just take the first pick because we all know who it's gonna be.
No, that's all right. I think it's. I think the first 4 or 5 picks are probably chalk anyway, right?
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so Tennessee Titans are on the clock. Former Houston Oilers. It lists their team needs over here. It says quarterback, wide receiver, edge, corner, linebacker. Their next pick is 35. There are other picks in this draft. They've got 27 my picks. Those are my picks. Okay, so they've got other picks in this draft coming up in the second round. But, I don't agree that the quarterback is their top priority. But
I agree. And you like Will Levis too. You want to see him.
Right. Will Levis has not done it yet in 20 starts, but it's only 20 starts. We talked about this last week. That's crazy to give up on a guy. You look at Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Josh Allen's first 20 starts, and Will Levis is no worse than them. In fact, in some ways, he's better. So it's crazy to give up on him. However, when you're back up at the top of the draft, you're picking number 1 overall, and there's a guy that some people, apparently most people, think is the number 1 player, you take him. So they're going to do that. They're going to take Cameron Ward. If you look at his analysis, he's 6'2", 223. He's the QB1 of the draft class, blah, 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 blah. Look, I know who Cameron Ward is. He was the quarterback of the Washington State Cougars for 2 years before he transferred to Miami. I watched every game he played. I'll tell you who he is. He's Tyrod Taylor. That's who I think he is. I don't think he gets any higher than that in his pro career. But because of the need for quarterbacks, because of how desperate teams are, I think bottom line, that's who they take. So I'm going to slide on over to Cameron Ward, and I'm going to give him to the Tennessee Titans because everybody says that's what's going to happen. All right, Brian, you and your Cleveland Browns are on the clock, buddy.
All right. Want to give a shout out real quick to Jason watching. He wants the Cleveland Browns to take Will Howard no matter what. Now, I had the question earlier. If you could take Tom Brady in the 5th round or the 4th round, that would be a stretch, right? Because he was later in the draft. Like, you'd be overdrafting him, right?
Right.
Or the 3rd round. We can't wait. The value isn't there for Tom Brady. It's the 3rd round. You know that he's a late round pick. He's pick number 199, right?
Right.
Look. All right. I thought that the Tennessee Titans were probably going to take Abdul Carter. The preliminaries leading into all of the offseason analytics was that Abdul Carter had the highest possible ceiling. Like you said, Cam Ward, you projected to be what? Tyrod Taylor? That's not a number 1 pick.
No.
But if you get a Myles Garrett prototype in Abdul Carter or something that's going to be a badass edge rusher, I think the Tennessee Titans are going to take Abdul Carter. We'll see how it shakes out tomorrow. But
we'll see.
In this draft here, I think the Cleveland Browns have a couple of things going on. You could either go the Myles Garrett route, because Myles said, I want out of Cleveland, get me out. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to compete. They said something to him to make it work, and then they made him like the most paid player in history. It is very tempting to bookend Myles Garrett with Abdul Carter. We saw what the Philadelphia Eagles did to the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Just bum rushed them. The problem with the Cleveland Browns is that there are several openings right now. There are a lot of positions that we have to fill. And I think for that reason, the Cleveland Browns, and I'm going to sort of use I'm going to use the fact that we have so many open positions on our roster to draft Travis Hunter. He is going to play both sides. He said, if I'm only forced to play one side, I'll quit. Like, so anyone trying to draft him knows you're going to play both sides. Now, maybe that's 80% of the defensive snaps and 50% of I don't know exactly what the dynamics will be. but he's a smart kid. He eats, sleeps, and breathes football. And the intel that I've been getting from GM Andrew Berry, he loves the kid. Now, that doesn't mean that the Browns are out. It doesn't mean that we're done being players. The persistent rumors of trading for Dak Prescott, the persistent rumors of Kirk Cousins, and of course, the theory that the Browns are going to get a quarterback in the first 3 rounds somewhere. Maybe there's not that big a difference between Cam Ward, Shadur Sanders, Will Howard, Jalen Milroe, go through Jackson Dart. Maybe there's not that much of a difference. And we just say, let's throw our dart in the second round or late first round, jump back in. So for all those reasons, I am picking Travis Hunter at number 2.
All right. Travis Hunter goes to the Cleveland Browns. I got to agree with that. That's who they should take, I think. Plays 2 sides of the ball. He'll have an impact at corner. They'll have offensive packages for him. Superstar waiting to happen. Jim, how do you feel about those first 2 picks? And then you're on the clock with the Giants.
Yeah, I would have went with Travis Hunter. I mean, the old saying is in the draft is, take the best next available player, and I think he is absolutely the next best available player. And I know in the long term the Browns are looking at a quarterback situation, but I think Hunter is just a much better pick as far as the availability of quarterbacks right now. And it just makes him stronger. It makes the Browns stronger with him.
On both sides of the ball. That's the part. You're going to get so many more snaps out of that, which makes me excited. Anthony Manzano jumping in. What are your thoughts real quick watching the beginning of this draft, sir?
Honestly, I like Travis Hunter. I don't want to draft the corner this high. Honestly,
I hear that, and I've also heard
a wide receiver because he can do that too.
I've also heard he's mediocre at both, but he plays both. He got the Heisman. I mean,
no, to me, he's an elite corner in the NFL. I don't think he's a great receiver in the NFL. Like, he's gonna be a good receiver, but to me, being that he learned from one of the. I'm not saying he's gonna be Dion or anything like that,
but he coached him up.
But he was the one that taught Travis to play the corner position, and like I said, I like Travis, and apparently he's a generational talent according to people, which that's a hard thing to put on this kid. I would rather draft him later, like down the draft, and have these top teams draft quarterbacks because they need it and stuff like that.
Exactly. Well, let me ask you this, and then we'll get back to it. And by the way, Anthony, we'll put you on hold. Maybe we'll bring you back in for another hot take. But if let's imagine I didn't take Travis Hunter, who would you have taken for the Browns?
Abdul Carter
off the board.
Abdul Carter.
And why would you go Abdul Carter?
I don't know how much time we have left with Miles, even though we signed him to the extension.
Yeah.
Pass rushers fall off very quickly, and he's a speed rusher.
Mm-hmm.
As you get older, you start losing your speed and stuff like that. So, to me, Abdul Carter would be a perfect replacement for Miles when he started. Honest.
Yeah. So you'd go the San Antonio Spurs route. You want David Robinson and Tim Duncan. You want the twin towers on the ends. You want the ends right there. All right, Anthony, we'll put you on hold a second. We'll keep rolling through here and bring you back in.
Anthony, thank you for that. But I mean, I'll tell you something about Travis Hunter. He's going to score touchdowns from corner on pick sixes. He's going to score touchdowns as a wide receiver in the slot, especially, and he's going to score touchdowns returning kicks. And that makes him.
Well, but what GM is going to allow him to play both? Like, what smart general manager? I know these teams that are in top of the draft are desperate for a superstar, but if you're a smart GM, are you gonna cave to a player to like that? Seems like incompetent GMing or an owner caving to a player like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? That sounds like the exact MO of the Cleveland Browns organization. Then it's a perfect fit. It's the perfect fit.
You got him for 5 years. You got him for 5 years. You ride him like a horse. Ride him like a nasty, tough horse.
Yeah, get the most you can out of this first 5 years.
Thanks, Anthony. Jim, you're up with the Giants. You got the 3rd overall pick. What are you going to do with it, bud?
Yeah, there's a lot of talk around that the primary need of the Giants is quarterback, but this year I don't see that. I mean, as far as the strength of the quarterback draft this year, their needs may be quarterback, but they've got a competent quarterback right
They
now
got Russ,
in Russ.
And by the way,
And
Jameis can throw for
yeah,
500 yards. He'll just have some long punts on the interceptions. So,
Yeah.
Jameis aired it out, man. He can throw, but interceptions.
yeah, I like Jameis. I mean, I told you that last year, Brian. I mean, he's great for TV. I mean, he's just a good
Jameis
watch.
Winston experience,
But
it is, right?
yeah, I'm going to go with the obvious pick here. I think the next best player on the board right now is Abdul Carter, and out of Penn State, and I would go ahead and draft Carter in this position here. The draft needs also from the Giants. Their second need, that they're saying that they're in need of an offensive tackle. And I've always been the belief, you should build from the inside out. As far as strengthening a team, but I think Russ still has enough mobility. I don't know if Mike would agree, but I think he has enough mobility to get away from a semi decent pass rush. But I'll go ahead and take.
Yeah,
Carter
and I'm hoping that the Giants said to Russ, okay, come in and learn our offense, but you can change any play you want at the line of scrimmage. Just let him go. And, now that he's playing in New York, this will probably be what, if they let him just do what he does well, which is innovate, he will, this will guarantee that Russ is in the Hall of Fame. Not that there should be any question about it, but he has a couple of great years in New York, and that's going to sell him to those guys for sure. So, yeah, I agree. A quarterback is something they can worry about in the second or third round if they want to. So there we are.
Hey, Anthony's asking if he can pick for his Dolphins. I think that sounds fun.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Awesome.
Sure.
Yes, I love that. Anybody else out there watching, like jump in. We put let me pin the link to the show. I'll see if I can get Jason in.
It's in the host. It says it shows in my chat.
Yep. Awesome. So Anthony, we'll put you down for the Dolphins. Let's not forget pick number 13. Okay.
Yeah, 13. They're picking at 13.
Okay, moving on to the fourth pick now. It's the New England Patriots. Everybody knows who's going to go here. Everybody agrees. Nobody argues. They're going to take Will Campbell, the giant offensive tackle, 6'5", 319 from LSU. He's a left tackle. Now, look, they could use a superstar. They could use a guy who could score touchdowns. If the Browns were to pass on Travis Hunter for some reason, the Patriots would take him right here, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to take Genty. I think they'd like to, but everybody has Will Campbell going to the Patriots. I think we're just going to give Will Campbell to the Patriots and say, there they are, left tackle. Okay, Brian, now it's on to you, to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Needs are listed as defensive tackle, tight end, quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver. I think there's another team that could use a little help for Derek Lawrence and
Trevor Lawrence,
and score some touchdowns. But that's up to you. What are you going to do at number 5? Brian Engelman, general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, you know what? I am going to take a look at our cornerstone. I'm going to look at Trevor Lawrence and try to figure out what's going on. Maybe not lived up to the hype quite yet. Now, I would say when the Ohio State Buckeyes battled Trevor Lawrence in the college football playoffs, we kind of exposed who he was, and he wasn't all that. But, he's got skills. He's got talent. I think you have to do the smart thing here, and that's go offensive line. Where I'm a little torn is who to take, because the number 1 offensive tackle is listed at number 23 because he's coming off of an injury. That's where I'm trying to figure out, do you jump and take him, or do you go with the safe offensive tackle that isn't coming off of a bad injury toward the end of the season?
By the way, guys, when we go to a team on the clock, their needs they're small, but they're listed here. If you need me to read them off as we get deeper, I can read them off for you. We can also look at offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball. or go to specific positions or go to the overall. So just let me know what you want to see. If you want to see, here's the offensive tackles. There you go. There's the list.
Yeah, I think they're going to need someone that's going to be able to come in and contribute right away. I think the injury is going to scare them away and scare a couple other teams away too. But whoever ends up with this guy, if you can just redshirt him for half a season until he finishes his return from that injury, he was kind of listed as one of the number one offensive tackles. But end of the day, I am going to go ahead and take, where's he at? Armand Membu, offensive tackle out of Missouri. And you have got to anchor that line so Trevor Lawrence can have the best possibility of reaching the highest potential possible.
6'4", 322, and a lot of people had him taking Mason Graham here from Michigan. I hear he's dropping in the draft a little bit. All right, Jim, we're up next with the Raiders. Their top needs are listed as corner, running back, wide receiver, safety, and defensive tackle. And with the injury to the defensive tackle whose name escapes me, I'll try to find it. That may change things a little bit. What are you thinking for the Raiders pick at number 6?
I think I'm frozen up here, Mike.
Your screen is a little frozen, but I heard the audio.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and they're
now we may have lost him.
No,
okay.
I'm still
okay,
here.
We got you.
Me,
yes.
Mike? Yeah. I'm going to go with Ashton Jeanty here, running back. I think the Raiders would benefit the most here with a running back, even though
really,
they says their primary need is corner. But I'll go ahead and I'll take Jeanty and I'll reboot this.
All right, and you know what I would have went for here, Mike? Who would you have taken here?
Well, here's the thing. Because of there is apparently, I just looked it up. It's Christian Wilkins, their defensive tackle. He's got a foot injury, and that's a factor. I might have gone defensive tackle, but I also understand that Mason Graham is falling on a lot of people's boards as we head into the draft. Will Johnson's a good corner. I think I would have taken, honestly, I would have taken Jeanty because they do need a running back. They lost Josh Johnson last year to the Packers, and they haven't replaced that. But Pete does like his defensive players. He likes his defensive backs. But I probably would have gone with Jeanty myself. So, good. I agree with Jim's call on that one.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I would have went with Shedeur Sanders easily. Tom Brady being part of that ownership group with the Raiders. I know that they have, the reconnection between the Coach Carroll and Geno Smith. That's great and all, but Geno's old in the tooth, long in the tooth. Hell, so is the coach. But I think that would have been a good fit, Shedeur Sanders with the Raiders. It makes sense on 100 levels for me, but it is what it is. Now there's a quarterback sitting there for the Jets. Before we do, so Jim is jumping back in. While Jim gets in, Anthony said, let me comment on the past couple picks. Anthony, you're back. What do you make of our picks? Did we crush it?
I disagree with Membu and Will Campbell because to me, those two guys are guards in the NFL. I don't think they had the feet to stay with the tape I've seen of them. I don't think they can stay at the tackle position. I don't think they had the feet to deal with these elite pass rushers that you see in the NFL. I see them. They might be great elite right tackles, but I don't think they can be a left tackle and stuff like that.
And drafting them that high for a right tackle or a guard, that's just it's out of balance. Kind of like we were saying, you don't draft a cornerback.
And I don't think Jeanty's the elite talent that people are making him out to be. He's not Ezekiel Elliott. He's not Saquon Barkley. I don't think he's a top 10 pick, in my honest opinion.
I don't either. I don't think he's the best running back in the draft. I think there's
it's Hampton. To me, it's Hampton.
You like Amari and Hampton. I like Travion Henderson. But we'll get to that as some of these picks roll through, of course. Okay, so your concerns there. What about all right, so who's up now? Where are we at?
The Jets are up, but I'm making the pick. And Jim, I'm making the pick, right? Because I took Will Campbell.
Is Jim unfrozen? Did we have to bring him back in?
frozen. Why don't you drop Jim, and then we'll let Jim come back in.
Yeah, I don't know how to. Hang on. I'm going to remove Jim.
There we go.
I could do the Jets pick.
Yeah, well, you can sub in for
that is your division.
All right, Anthony, you want to do the Jets pick?
Jade Barron
division. Why not stay in the East?
You go right.
Jade Barron.
Okay.
And why? Why is that a good pick for you there?
Because honestly, they lost one of their safeties to free agency. What's his name? Ashton Davis.
And DJ Reed. They lost DJ Reed, their
Yeah,
corner.
and honestly, when I look at Jade Barron, he's a free safety. He's a free safety. Like I don't think he can stay at corner and stuff like. I don't think he's good enough to play boundary because of the size. The size issue for me in today's NFL with corner, you have to be a special type of talent to be that small at the corner position. And I think Trent McDuffie is the exception to the rule. My honest opinion, you need taller corners. And Will Johnson's injury history scares me a little bit. So Jade Barron to me.
Excellent. That makes a lot of sense.
Brian, you're up. You're picking for the Carolina Panthers. Their needs are listed as corner, center, safety, edge, wide receiver. Will Johnson is considered the top corner. Jade Barron just went in front of him. Are you taking Will Johnson from Michigan, or who are you thinking about here?
Oh,
Carolina Panthers.
I am absolutely going to be taking McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. You have Bryce Young. You have a young quarterback that was essentially sent to the minors. Mm-hmm. It's like, go sit down on the bench, kid. All right, we'll let you back in. Hey, you're playing a little bit better. Okay, I guess it wasn't a total bust. They still don't know what they have there, but I'll tell you what, you damn well better give him some weapons to judge him accurately. You can't get a complete read on somebody if you're not giving them the tools to build the house. Got to have some hammers, got to have some saws, got to have some nails, you know?
What do you think about the rumors that he doesn't like football that much? He never watches film. He just uses his physical superiority to win situations against guys. And there's some concern that he's not very coachable because of that. What do you I mean, I agree with you. He's going to be in the top 15, but what do you think about those rumors? Do you like them, hate them, believe them, not believe them?
Well, I mean, what is it? Rumors are like assholes. Everybody has one, and they usually stink. Yeah. Although Norm Macdonald does a better version of that joke that's hilarious about Neil Patrick Harris. But anyway, look, there's going to be a lot of rumors like that, and maybe it is true, and that is something that they're going to roll the dice.
I don't believe it.
But it's 6'4", like with that size, with that speed. You don't believe it either, Anthony? I mean, it's silly season in the draft. We don't
know. And you know why I don't believe it? Because I'm going to bring up a perfect example of this. Remember the Dan Marino incident in '83 when teams thought he was doing drugs at Pittsburgh?
Okay.
I think this is where this is coming from. There's teams that are putting that out on purpose so he can drop to them. Yeah. And stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, that is definitely possible. I don't know, but Mike, you're kind of buying into that. Who would you take at this spot? Would you go with some offensive help, or all the problems on defense?
Well, I don't disagree with McMillan. I don't disagree with Matthew Golden from Texas could have gone there for me. I don't disagree at all with giving Bryce Young, a weapon. He definitely needs weapons.
Tyler Warren
is a good player. If however Ashton Genty fell to me and I'm Carolina, I'm snapping that pick up in like 2 seconds. Absolutely, just taking it. So Jim is now just a black square. We can't hear you yet, Jim, but we're working on it. That's okay. We'll get back.
We need to get Jim either upgraded internet or a new laptop. Are we close to Christmas?
I think he's got anyone. So this leaves me in a dilemma at number 9, because now I'm sitting here looking and I get to pick for the Saints. And what I'm looking at is there's a fairly obvious fit here. There's a guy who's fallen, in my opinion, way farther than he should, which is Shedeur Sanders, because he's not a scouting player. I would have taken him as my number 1 pick. If I was number 1 overall and I had to pick between Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, I'm taking Sanders.
Really?
Because I look at things like touchdown to interception ratio is to me the most important stat. second most important stat for quarterbacks. Number one is how many touchdown passes does the guy throw? Because that's what the quarterback does, is he throws touchdown passes. 37 or 39 touchdowns versus only 11 interceptions. That shows great judgment. It shows his football IQ is very high for the quarterback position. Yet I'm also hearing that a lot of teams have just taken him off their first round draft boards. They don't think he's a first round pick because his physical tools aren't that great. Well, how great were Tom Brady's physical tools? Not that great. He had a good arm. He did not have a great arm. It's what's up here and what's in here. And he seems like a very competitive guy. There's a lot of people saying his character sucks. He's super entitled. It's going to be a nightmare to deal with him with Dion around all the time. Well, you know what? There's also a strong rumor that the Saints are not taking him at number 9. They absolutely are not going to take him at number 9. However, Derek Carr has a bad shoulder. Nobody knows how bad it is. Their next option is Spencer Rattler, who I loved last year.
You do love him.
I think the Seahawks should have taken him. I think he looked great for a rookie quarterback, or he looked like he has great upside. So I'm going to propose. Well, I can't do this because it's Jim's pick. What I would do here.
How do we get Jim back in? Is there something we need to do to get Jim back
he's
in?
He's restarting. He'll come back when he's ready. He's restarting. He'll come back when he's ready. But I'll make the Seahawks pick if he's not there. But I would trade up for Shedeur Sanders if I was the Seahawks, because I could probably get up here for a 3rd round pick and maybe a 5th next year. I'd jump up to number 9 and take Shedeur Sanders and lock down my quarterback position for a while. But I don't have that option because I am the New Orleans Saints and I'm picking for them. And I'm sorry, they have needs at guard. They have needs at wide receiver.
Calvin Banks.
I gotta take Shedeur Sanders. I just have to, because I don't have a solid situation at quarterback. And I'm gonna, even though I don't think they're gonna do this, I'm gonna make that pick because that's what if that's what I'd do if I was the owner. All right, Bears are up. Anthony, you want to do the Bears, or Brian, or you're next? You're next, Brian, right?
I think Anthony bounced out. Yeah, let's go ahead. We got the Bears. Let's take a look at. Let's get them on the screen.
Needs are offensive tackle, they say, running back, safety, edge, linebacker.
Mason Graham. Why did that? By the way, why are you hearing that Mason Graham's going to slide? Because he's the number 4 pick, and we're already at 10, and there's just not a need for tackle amongst the problems.
What I hear is that he's been very inactive in this lead up. He hasn't done any private workouts. He didn't go to his pro day, didn't work out at the combine. And hi, Anthony. Okay, Anthony's back. And a lot of people just think that they're hiding him, that he's hiding something, and that he's not that good. That he, the only thing he did at the combine was he did the bench, and he finished second to last. So there's rumors that he's more highly thought of because of his film than he would be in testing. So he's avoided the testing. That's raised a red flag for some teams. That's what I hear. But I agree with you. If I was sitting there and I'm the Bears, I'm probably taking him, because workout warriors do not a good draft pick make. However, what are you doing? You're the Bears GM. What are you picking? Who are you taking?
Yeah, some of these, the lead into some of these had they had the Bears taking Gianti. So now he's gone.
Right.
And they have running back at one of their top needs, and they're going, shit. All right, darn. We were really hoping Gianti was going to fall. So that's the question there. Do they look? I am such a firm believer of when you get who you think is your quarterback, for the love of God, get some offensive line, get some running backs and wide receivers and tight ends, get them some help. You got to draft high to get them some help.
Tyler Warren.
You think Tyler Warren at this spot? Why do you say Tyler Warren would help the Bears?
I like Cole Kmet, but he's a good second tight end, but I don't think he's like the elite tight end that people think he is. I think he's like he would be a good Aaron Hernandez to Gronkowski, like that type of what is it called? That type of partnership.
2 tight ends,
like a complementary tight end.
Yeah.
You run more 22 personnel. You run it with 2 tight ends and 2 wide receivers, or 22 personnel. it's a good thing when you got a young quarterback. I wouldn't object to that.
And there's a lot of running backs that have one guy's the power guy and the other guy's the speed guy.
Okay, first of all, Brian, Jim says he's back in, so you have to add him back into the thing. Do you see Jim?
There he is. Hold on.
There he is. All right, we got Jim back. Jim's going to make the next pick for the 09ers. But Brian, you're on the clock. The clock has expired. Who's your pick?
All right. I am going to go with the Chicago Bears. You know, I think you sold me on this. I think you sold me on Tyler Warren. I'm going to go ahead and put Tyler Warren on the Bears because that's going to help your offensive line. Because a tight end at its core is a position of an extended offensive line. And you give a weapon to Caleb Williams to give the kid a chance to succeed. That does two things. It helps the line and it gives you a playmaker. Thank you for talking me into it because the Penn State tight end and the Chicago offense, I see that overlapping very well. I just, in my head, I see a lot of similarities between the styles that they're running. I could see that working. So I'm going to go with that. That's a good suggestion. Thank you, Anthony. Jim, 09ers. The Santa Clara.
Yeah.
09ers.
You're back. The Santa Clara 09ers. Welcome back, Jim.
Two inputs in one nickname. I like it.
The team needs are listed as defensive tackle, cornerback, linebacker, edge, offensive guard. I think I'd go with different needs than that. But what are your thoughts on our division rivals, the 49ers? And what do you think? What do you think they're gonna do here?
Probably. I really don't know what their weaknesses. What are their weaknesses again, Mike? I'm still trying to catch up on the board here.
It lists defensive tackle, corner, linebacker, edge, and an offensive guard would be good things. So
I'd probably go defense. Even though the head coach is he's an offensive coach at heart.
You got to get another top 10 pick to make Robert Saleh look good though, because
Yeah, I think the obvious pick, is probably Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. I'd probably go defense here and
good pick.
Go ahead and thanks for filling in for me, Anthony. I appreciate that. My little light on my camera went out.
All right. So that's cool. So now the Cowboys are up. I guess it's my pick, and then Anthony's going to do his Dolphins.
Yes, and by the way, Mike, I did put in the private chat for Jim and for Anthony. It's a link to the mock draft simulator. So if you just want to pull it up and catch up with the picks that we did, you can have it in front of you because it'll show the team and it lists their team needs right next to their logo over there. So
I have a question before you guys go to the Cowboys pick. Are you doing trades in this mock draft?
We're not.
I don't think we can. I mean, we can, but here's one of the problems with this simulator is even when you make the most one-sided trade possible,
like Deshaun Watson,
it rejects it 90% of the time, right? It's just so when you say, okay, well, I'm the Seahawks, I'm going to trade up and take Shedeur Sanders, and you make like 15 different proposals, and every time the computer rejects the trade, so it's not worth doing.
Yeah, Pro Football Network is weird with the trade value. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's like it almost has to balance the trade on both sides. Well, unbalanced trades get made in the NFL all the time, depending on how desperate one side or the other is to make the deal. So that's just the way it is. All right, Dallas Cowboys are on the clock. They suck. They got issues. They could use a running back. They could use an edge. They could use a linebacker. They could use wide receiver. And a lot of people have them taking the Texas wide receiver from here. Kelvin Banks is the offensive tackle. Matthew Golden here to give Dak another weapon. Will Johnson, the corner from Michigan, is sitting right there. He's probably the highest rated player. And it seems like even though it's not a desperate need that they could use something because their defense was really awful last year. There's Mike Green, the edge from Marshall. They're having trouble with Micah Parsons. They let Dexter Lawrence go to the Seahawks. So given all that, I'm going to say Jerry is going to be Jerry. He's going to do something stupid. He's going to take Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Texas, because he thinks CeeDee Lamb is good and he wants to partner with CeeDee Lamb. I personally think CeeDee Lamb is the most overrated receiver in the NFL, but that's just my opinion. So there we are. That's what we got. Another dumb pick. So, Anthony, your Dolphins are on the clock.
Another dumb
I'm between three players. I like Will. Like I said earlier, I like Will Johnson. The injuries scare me to the point where I'm actually taking him. I'm bumping him out of the top 20 and stuff like that. So I'm between Nick Imanwari here, Malachi Starks, and Trey Amos, the corner from Ole Miss.
So,
And I'm going with Trey Amos.
number 34 overall out of Ole Miss. Why do you like Trey Amos, and what does he do to the Dolphins right off the bat?
Because he's a type. The reason why I'm choosing him is because of I don't have to worry about injuries and stuff like that, and he's a type of corner. He's a type of DB that a guy like Anthony Weaver likes in it. He's like a Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton type corner. That length and the the physical play and stuff like that. I like Will Johnson. He's a zone corner to me in the NFL. He's not a big man to man guy in the NFL. He's zone and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right, Jim. Baltimore Colts, Indianapolis Colts, whatever they are on the clock at number 14. Needs are listed as tight end, interior offensive line, linebacker, quarterback. Although I'm not sure with Anthony Richardson they should be giving up on him quite so soon. But Jim, what are you thinking about what the Colts are going to do sitting here at 14 with the way the draft has gone? All the blue chip talent is off the board. They would have loved Tyler Warren. They probably in the real world, I would think the Colts might trade with the Bears to go get Tyler Warren if he fell there. But they're on.
You have Colston Loveland.
Yeah, you do. Colston Loveland. What do you think? What do you think, Jim, on the Colts?
Digging in, taking a look. Mr. Jim, you still got us here? Can Jim hear us?
I'm way behind Mike. What do we got? What do we got for the Saints here? What was the Saints pick?
Oh, we're on. Oh, the Saints. Okay, yeah. The Saints. I went with Shedeur Sanders to the Saints, even though everybody says it's not going to happen. Anthony went with Tyler Warren.
What was the Bears pick?
Brian went with Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren, the tight end for Penn State.
For the Bears?
Yes, for the Bears. Mason Graham, the 49ers. That was your pick.
I went with Mason Graham.
Matthew Golden.
Okay.
49ers. Yeah. Matthew Golden to Texas. The Texas.
Okay,
the Cowboys. Trey Amos, the old
Anthony picked the Dolphins, right?
Yeah, Trey Amos, the Ole Miss corner.
And now we are up to you at number 14.
Trey Amos, the corner, number 34 on the overall list to the Dolphins.
And by the way, anybody out there watching, please type your comments in. We will try to incorporate them into the show. And look, Anthony just got incorporated completely into the show. You never know what's going to happen on Strictly Football, as long as it's football related, that is.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of talk about the Michigan player Colston Loveland this week. There's been a lot of discussion, especially on Cowherd's show in the morning. I mean, he really likes Colston Loveland, and I see that primary needs with the Colts are tight end, offensive line, and linebacker. I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and take Colston Loveland off the board for
right there
for Indianapolis.
Okay. There's been a lot of great tight ends in Indianapolis over the years. I mean, that's a byproduct of having some great quarterback play with Peyton Manning.
The comparison I have for Loveland, I'm not sure if you guys agree with this a little bit. He reminds me of Dallas Clark, kind of.
I mean,
right. I was just going to say Dallas Clark, right?
A little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the Falcons. They're up. The Falcons, it says cornerback, defensive tackle, edge, safety, linebacker. I don't think they're going to hesitate if it falls like this. They're just going to take Mike Green, the edge for Marshall. He's the next guy up. He's 16th overall in the evaluation. He's a pass rusher. They need a pass rusher. I don't think they're going to worry about a corner, even though Will Johnson is slipping. So we're going to give him Mike Green, the edge from Marshall. Now the Arizona Cardinals. I guess, Anthony, We'll have you make this pick.
Shamar Stewart.
Shamar Stewart, the edge from Texas A&M, who a lot of people think is a risky pick. So there we go. Brian, you're picking for your AFC North rivals, the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you think the Bengals are going to do?
Yeah, the in-state in-state rivals as well. By the way, what was the concern about Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M to the Cardinals?
Character and lack of productivity. He's got all this incredible athletic ability, but I think the guy only had 4 sacks in his college
I don't blame.
career.
And Brian, this is where I disagree with you a little bit. I hate when people bring up the production. Texas A&M doesn't use their defensive line that way. Like, they don't care about individual production. It's overall production of the defensive line. So when there's a lack of production, I focus on the pressure rate rather than the sacks. He had high pressure rate, but he didn't get home all the time. And in general, with the defensive line in Texas A&M, all their defensive line in the past few drafts performed better in the NFL production-wise. Myles Garrett is a perfect example of that.
That's important, but I'm also going to take you back to 2005 when the Seattle Seahawks are sitting on the board at number 4. Matt Hasselbeck is getting long in the tooth. They could have taken Mark Sanchez, who had a pretty good career, beat Tom Brady twice in the playoffs. I think they should have taken the quarterback back then. Instead, they took the guy who was considered the safest pick in the draft, a guy named Aaron Curry, a linebacker edge type from Georgia Tech. You ever heard of Aaron Curry? No, Anthony, you haven't, because he sucked. You know why? This is a guy that they brought in to be a pass rusher who had 5 career sacks, just like Shamar Stewart. The guy had no instincts for football, and that's what I'm afraid that I see with Shamar Stewart, and that's what
I follow the kid since high school, so I know what I see in the kid. So
I hear you. I hear you. I hope if you're right and I'm wrong, then the Falcons made a big mistake taking Mike Green over Shamar Stewart. But nevertheless,
the character issues scare me more with Mike Green. The off the field stuff with Mike Green scares me more than the on the field production with Shamar.
Yeah, right, and that'll derail a franchise. That'll derail a career so fast.
Brian, you are up with the Bengals. Edge is their top need, but the best edge is off the board now. They could also use a corner, a guard, a defensive tackle. Offensive line, defensive line are weak for the Bengals. What do you think you're doing here?
Well, what I'm going to do is ask a question of the group. Quick answer. Which position is more important, cornerback or edge? Let me go around the horn, starting with Jim. What is more important of a position for your team, cornerback or edge? All other things being equal, would you rather have an upgrade at cornerback or edge?
I would rather upgrade the edge, defensive tackle.
The edge.
I think a good pass rush. If you got a good pass rusher, you can take a good quarterback off his game, and just constantly, knowing that this guy's going to come across the line and take me out. I mean, just look at how many good defensive ends have actually gotten into quarterbacks' heads.
Absolutely.
So I would go ahead and I would draft a good edge tackle.
And so that is the age-old question, chicken and the egg. Will a great defensive edge or a defensive end put so much pressure on that they're going to get more production out of the defensive backs, or will lockdown defensive backs make your edge more productive because there's nowhere to throw to? That gives you an extra half second, maybe an extra second, and then your line becomes more productive. Mike Bara, what say you there? Which one is more important of a spot?
Quarterback, left tackle, wide receiver, edge. Those are my top 4 positions. Edge, edge, edge all day long. I don't care about corners. You can find them in the 4th, 5th, and 6th round. Take it.
Anthony, do you concur with the group?
I disagree. I'm more of the new line of thinking, building from the back end to the front, because it's a pass-heavy league. In my honest opinion, the shutting down the receivers on the outside creates more opportunities for your edge rush in the long run, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, and that's what people have to figure out. And I think the Bengals have had a really bad defense for a long time. They're going defense here regardless. They've spent a ton of money on their wide receivers and
Nicky
quarterbacks.
Manari or Malachi Starks?
You like Malachi Starks? I'm going to go with Will Johnson here out of Michigan. I'm going to take Will Johnson. It's someone that's from the regional area. He's used to playing in the weather. That does make a difference compared to dome players and Southern California players or Florida players. If you're playing your games in Michigan, you'll be able to handle Cincinnati. I think it matters. So that's who I'm going to go with. Why would you have taken the other pick there, Anthony?
Now, they lost Jesse Bates, so they need to replace Jesse Bates.
But they just need better defensive players. They just need better defensive players.
An improvement will improve that defense regardless, but yeah.
All right. Jim Mitchell, you are on the clock for the Seattle Seahawks. I know who I would take right here if the draft fell this way. Who are you taking at numbers 18 for our Seattle Seahawks?
And of course, I want to hear who Mike wants to take. Just say hello to Deb from SAC, calling you guys stud muffins. You never quit talking about football, says Deb from Sacramento. Thank you for watching, Deb. Okay, Jim, you're on the clock. This is everything you've hoped for. Let's go. What do you do? How do you fix your team?
Yeah, this pick can go one of two ways. Mike mentioned earlier in the show, Kenneth Walker is often injured. He's a good running back when he is healthy. If I were to go running back, I would probably take the next available off the board, O'Marion.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, you're correct. It's O'Marion Hampton.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But, Seahawks got Sam Darnold this year. He's not that mobile. Did he catch lightning in a bottle, with the Vikings last year, with outstanding record? What did they win? 11, 12 games?
10, yeah.
I'm going to look to protect my quarterback here because I don't think Darnold's that mobile. I'm going to go with Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State.
Yeah, Gray Zabel, the offensive guard from North Dakota State, 6'5", 312, plays all five positions on the offensive line. A few years ago, there was a guy in 2022 named Cole Strange, who the Seahawks were going to take with the 40th pick in the second round. The New England Patriots knew that and took him at 28 in the first round. He's at least that good. Now, Strange has not worked out for the Patriots because he's been injured, but he has all those same traits. Gray Zabel, the pick for the Seattle Seahawks at 18. And honestly, the only guy, the people here that would tempt me as a Seahawk GM is Jalen Walker is a linebacker who also can do a little bit on the outside, a lot of talent. He really excites me. I would have looked at Jalen Walker. I'm not interested in the safeties. Seahawks don't need a safety. Tyler Booker is a plug-and-play left guard. Gray Zabel is a guy who can play left tackle, left guard, right guard. He's the overall guy. I agree with Jim. I probably out of that group would have done the same thing and taken Gray Zabel, so I can't complain.
I could do Tampa next if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead and do Tampa.
I'm going DB here. I'm between three players: Will Johnson, Imanwari, and Malachi Starks. And to me, out of them, I'm choosing Malachi Starks to pair up with Antoine Winfield.
Yeah, Will Johnson already went, so that's he's gone.
What are your opinions, guys? Do you like that pick or?
Yeah, I mean everybody has either Imanwari or Starks. A lot of people have them mocked to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They need defense. That's the way to go. And, that makes a lot of sense. So, yeah, I think that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of times over the past couple of years, I've sort of adopted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as my second favorite team because I'm a Cleveland homer, and I hate what the Browns did to get rid of Baker Mayfield, as we've discussed in great detail in our previous 24 episodes. But their defense in Tampa Bay has cost Baker and the boys a couple of games. They have some weaknesses there. They still have the edge of the careers of Godwin and Mike Evans, still like right at the edge of their prime. They're loaded with some offensive talent, but just like the Bengals, they've got to get that defense under control. So that definitely improves them in that area. So yeah, I think it's a good pick.
And does that move, in your guys' opinion, does that move Antoine Winfield to the strong safety with Malachi Starks, or is Malachi, in your guys' opinion, a strong safety in the NFL?
Oh, that's a good question. He is 6 feet. That's pretty small for a strong safety. You want a bigger, hard-hitting guy. If you wanted a strong safety, I might have gone actually with him and Maury because he's bigger, 6'3", 220.
But you can get him into the. But I see what you're saying. He's small now, but once you get him to in an NFL weight room, he can get to around 210, 215, and stuff like that.
But I think he's a little bit more of a cover safety. But I think that's a pick that a lot of people make sense. I'll tell you what, Anthony. I think if Jalen Walker is there at 19, I think that they take him over the safety.
Because they need to replace Levante David.
Look, they just need defense. So that's what I think they'll do there. All right. Broncos are up. Who gets it? Brian, you get it. I guess.
Yeah.
What do you think? Broncos needs are listed as running back, wide receiver, linebacker, corner, tight end. A lot of options on the table for the Denver Broncos, who found their quarterback last year.
They did. And you know my pattern, you know my rhythm. By the way, hello to Dan Nickel watching out there. Everybody, however you're watching, hit like, hit subscribe, and drop your name in and tell us where you're watching the show from. I always love to know geographically how far the show is reaching. All right, yeah, the Broncos have settled their quarterback position, and part of that is by getting the right head coach in there. You get a head coach that knows how to coach up quarterbacks. You take some potential and you launch them. That's shocking how it works. But in order to support that quarterback, I want to draft some weapons. And I'm going to go on offense here, and looking at their needs right off the top, they just got rid of their running back, Williams, right? So yeah. I'm going to take the best available running back, and you guys are going to blow your lid because I'm saying that's Travion Henderson. O'Marion Hampton, wonderful player. That's fantastic. But look, the Buckeyes beat 6 of the top 8 teams on their way to winning a national championship last year. Travion Henderson split carries with Quinshawn Judkins the entire season. And guess what? When you had Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Egbuka running routes and catching all those touchdowns, they barely gave the ball to Travion, but he's a hell of a blocker, which means he's a 3-down back. You're not going to take him out. He can catch the ball, and he's electric. I think he's the entire package. No disrespect to O'Marion Hampton, but I'm going with Travion Henderson right there, and I think they got a good one.
Well, what is your comparison for him, like player comp?
Brian? Yeah, and I've been thinking about that. I've been trying to consider, like, watching his running style. Eddie... He's not Eddie George, but like maybe I'm just thinking like trying to compare him to previous Ohio State running
I see back. Emmitt Smith a little bit.
You see some Emmitt.
Either that or Ron Dane.
Ron Dane was a good player. Yeah.
He's got some size. He has some size, but he also has maybe some of the a higher percentage of home run ability. Remember when the Buckeyes were playing?
Oh, Ronnie Brown. How about Ronnie Brown?
Oh, geez. Yeah, there's a good one. All right.
Okay. All right. Also, guys, keep in mind we're getting close to pick number 20. So TV's Blake Wally may be joining us to pick for his Vikings in a few picks. Jim, I want to ask you, who do you want to pick for, the Chargers or the Packers? Which one of those two teams do you want?
Oh, it don't matter to me.
Doesn't matter. All right. Well, we'll give you the Chargers then. I'm going to pick for the Steelers. I'm going to throw a monkey wrench into the whole thing.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I have to leave. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Anthony.
Awesome stuff, Anthony. Appreciate you. Subscribe and join us again.
Yeah, Anthony.
I'm already subscribed, actually.
Thank you.
I will pick for your Dolphins when we get to the second round. So have a good
one. Thank you.
Thanks. Steelers, I think, are going to throw a monkey wrench into things at this point. I think they're going to go quarterback. They don't have one. And I think they're going to sit there, and they probably would have been fine with Sanders. They might even, if Sanders gets to 14, 15, they might even trade up to go get him. They may not like him as much, although Mike Tomlin said some nice things about him. So I think we're looking over at offense. We're going to go to the quarterback. Your choices are Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shaw, Will Howard, Quinn Ewers, Dylan Gabriel, Riley Leonard.
Wow.
I think a lot of people think Jackson Dart. A lot of people think Tyler Shaw. I think that they're going to go with Jalen Milroe. It's been rumored. It makes sense. I think you look at him, his floor, from their perspective, fantastic runner. Somebody said best running quarterback I've ever seen, better than Cam Newton. You work on his arm, you work on his accuracy. I don't think he starts this year, but I'm going with Jalen Milroe from Alabama because his floor is maybe Jalen Hurts. His ceiling is Lamar. Both of those guys had great running abilities, but Jackson Dart, look, the thing about Jalen Milroe is he is an asymmetric player. He's more of a threat running the ball than he is throwing it. But you
like Cordell Stewart /
maybe a slash. I don't know. But
Pittsburgh's done it before.
I'm just gonna go with
Cordell.
I'm just gonna go with the rumors that I heard that Milroe is very popular inside with Mike Tomlin, and that's the weapon they're gonna go get. So now the Chargers are up. Chargers needs, Jim, are listed as defensive tackle, tight end, wide receiver, corner, offensive center. What are you going to take? You got lots of good players on the board for the Chargers.
So you went Jalen Milroe for
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big body that can take a lot of hits in the AFC North. That's for sure.
I'm Chargers had some real good. They had a good draft last year, and I'm going to go Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. I think they need to beef up their the defense on this team, and Harbaugh and Joe Horowitz are pretty good at analyzing who they need for the team, and they had 4 good picks last year. So I think they're going to lean towards Kenneth Grant out of Michigan.
Yeah. I think that's a good pick. I think that Harbaugh knows who he knows. Anthony commented, I think Milroe's way too much development with him right now. He's a 3rd-round pick. The problem is, Anthony, as last year's draft showed us, 3rd-round picks are going in the 1st round these days because teams are finally placing the appropriate premium on quarterbacks. So that's where we're at. So you could be right. It could be Jackson Dart, but I don't think the Steelers are looking for a guy necessarily because Aaron Rodgers is still out there. I don't think they're looking for a guy to start this year. I think they're looking for
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, maybe he'll go to Minnesota.
There's TV's Blake Wally. All right, Packers are up next. Brian Engelman, who are you taking for your Green Bay Packers? Their top needs are listed as edge, corner, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and linebacker. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they are famously known for never drafting wide receivers in the 1st round. But I think Emeka Egbuka is too big of a talent to pass. I've watched these guys for years. Yeah. And the thing about being a Buckeye, you are the premier college program, and you are essentially an NFL minor league team at this point. Mm-hmm. You are splitting your time so many ways. You're showcasing yourself, but this guy is consistent. He's a playmaker, and he's never been the best wide receiver on his team. So you start to wonder, well, maybe he was the best player on his team with his consistency that opens it up for the other guys. But I'll just say the Green Bay is going to get tired of always hearing you never give your quarterbacks top-notch talent to work with. I say they're going to go with the wide receiver and take Egbuka, who's a hell of a player.
I agree with you, and I would not be unhappy at all if the Seahawks took Emeka Egbuka as their number 1 pick at 18. I wouldn't be unhappy with that because they can get other linemen in the 2nd round. All right, your Minnesota Vikings are up and on the board. TV's Blake Wally.
There he is.
We have a bunch of guys left. I hope you can see the list. Needs are listed as safety, corner, guard, edge, running back. I know what I would do here if I was the Vikings. Yeah. What is TV's Blake Wally going to do? at number 24. Do you want me to list off some more of the guys that are left, or
no? I've got my pick. If we're gonna stay there now, I would think they would trade down from this position because they've only got 4 picks. There's no second round, no fourth round. But
Right.
if they have a guy just fall into their lap, maybe they'll take him. And I think the obvious pick here is that safety there from South Carolina, Nick
Emenwari.
His last name, yeah.
Yeah, Emenwari. And that makes a whole lot of sense because Harrison Smith is vastly overrated in the first place, and he's old. I don't know something Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
But he's a good replacement. He can learn from a strong veteran like Smith. That makes a lot of sense. Honestly, if I was you, I would have taken Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle from Texas. Because I think your offensive line really let you down those last few games, and that's where.
Yeah, I watched it. I agree.
We upgraded, but our tackles I think are great. I would have gone with your guard that you took for Seattle there, that Gray
Zabel,
North Dakota. Yeah,
he's a good player. The other thing too is Banks. A lot of people say he's a guard, so you're going to move him into the guard spot in the NFL, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. All right.
Crazy does.
Next up, the Houston Texans at 25. Jim Mitchell, this is your pick. Who are you going to go with? Or do you want to pick for the Rams, Jim? Would you rather pick for the Rams or the Texans?
Oh, I'll pick for the Texans. Their needs, I see offensive tackle, offensive guard. I'm going to go probably the next best Ohio State player available here. I'm going to go with Donovan Jackson, Ohio State guard.
All right. Donovan Jackson. Yep. Good player. Good, solid player. All right. Next up, I'm going to go pick for the Rams. I hate the Rams, but I'm going to pick for them anyway. And their needs are listed as linebacker. And Jalen Walker, the Georgia linebacker, is a really good player. He deserves to go at this spot. He's a fit for them. They could also use a corner. They could use an edge. They could use a tight end. They could use a running back. So I think what they're going to do is look to the future, and they're not going to take the obvious pick because I think Sean McVay and Snead, their GM, are the smartest guys in football, and they had a great draft last year when they got Jared Verse, who the Seahawks passed on, and the Florida State defensive tackle, who the Seahawks also passed on. And I think they're going to take Jackson Dart, the quarterback from Ole Miss, as their heir apparent to Matthew Stafford. He's got a lot of the same qualities Stafford has. He doesn't have quite the arm, but who does? I think he sits behind Matthew Stafford for a while and becomes the quarterback for the Rams in 2 or 3 years. So I think McVay and Les Snead once again kill the fucking draft. That's 2 quarterbacks. 3. I've taken 3 quarterbacks in this draft. I took 3 of the 4. Actually, I took all 4 because I had the first pick and took Cam Ward. Wow. Quarterback. All right. Rams are up next, or not Rams, Ravens. I think there's an obvious pick here for a Ravens-style player. Let's see what Brian Engelman thinks.
Well, they need linebacker. You think of what the identity of a Baltimore Ratbird team is, and it's a hard-hitting defense. I mean, from front line, linebackers, and everybody in the defensive backfield, like they hit hard. I think you see one player here that slipped, Jalen Walker, linebacker, Georgia, top-notch program. I think they're going to coach him up. He's going to be the pick there, Jalen Walker, 27.
Just like Al Gore, it's time for him to go. And I know Brett TV's Blake Wally will get that. Good call.
Blake, I have a question. Brian, actually.
Yes,
how about, is Jahad Campbell gone?
where are we at?
I'm sorry, is what?
Linebacker, Alabama. He is still on the board. You would have maybe taken Campbell over Walker?
Yeah, I would rather take the bigger linebacker because when I look at him, he reminds me a little bit of the like I said, AJ Hawk or Blake Martinez, and they need
Right.
a hard-hitting linebacker in the middle in that
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're both ranked first round talents. It's just a matter of how they're going to get coached up and how they end up fitting into the system. So, you know, you couldn't have gone wrong there. But yeah, the blueprint, the DNA of the Baltimore Ratbirds, it's defense. It's hard hitting defense, and either one of those guys would have been good there. Who do we want to pick for the Lions now?
Well, I think
I'll do the Lions.
We got Lions.
Okay, Anthony's going to do the Lions. TV's Blake Wally. You're going to be up next with the Redskins, and then Jim is going to do the Bills. So
Jahad Campbell here.
Jahad Campbell. Okay.
Yep. The number 25 prospect linebacker out of Alabama going to the Detroit Football Lions.
The thing is, they had so many injuries on defense last year. They just need defensive players. That's just what they need. Is whoever's the best defensive player on the board. So there you go.
Okay.
Makes a lot of sense. All right. TV's Blake Wally, you're up next with the Washington Commanders, Redskins football team, whatever they are. What say you on the Redskins? Do you need me to
No, I think I've got it. I've just pulled up a cheat sheet. I can't say that I'm a particular expert on this draft here, but since I am going to be nominated the GM for the Washington Commanders football team, Redskins, what have you, let's roll.
Redskins. It lists edge and corner and safety and linebacker as top needs for that team and wide receiver as well. So.
I thought you were in the background just yelling that you got to call them the Redskins. Call them the Redskins.
No, you don't.
Oh, it's all good. Whatever. The Redskins. They're going to come back, right? All right. Well,
Hey, the Cleveland Indians too. How about it, please?
if I had the authority. All right. Well, let's. I'm going to roll with their defensive tackle. I know we got one from their team.
The Redskins, Blake.
Yes, sorry. The Redskins. I am going to take
The Redskins.
Walter Nolan, if he's still on the board there.
Yeah, from
Ole Miss.
It's a good player. Shore up the interior of their defense. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. All right, Jim, I think you're next for the Buffalo Bills. Jim.
And by the way, before we go to the pick, David Bann. Hello, David. David, one of our regulars on the TNAM AM show. Thanks for joining. He says, I think the Buffalo Bills will trade their pick. And he's saying that he knows the Bills do need a cornerback. So pick time. Mike, who's up here? This is Jim.
Jim's pick for the Buffalo Bills.
This is Jim. Yeah, I think Bills are going to be shoring up their defense here. Next best player up is Derek Harmon. I don't know if I would go defensive tackle.
It is one of the Bills' top
What do
names.
we got available here? We got an edge rusher available of Texas A&M, Nick Scorton
and Mikel Williams.
Yeah, I'll go with Derek Harmon out of Oregon.
Okay.
I mean, good solid college team.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Harmon.
I am next.
Give me.
Yeah, Derek Harmon makes a lot of sense. I'm next picking for the Kansas City Chiefs. Looks like their needs are listed as defensive tackle, offensive guard, edge, offensive tackle, safety. They had some issues in pass protection.
Yeah, Mike, you watched the Super Bowl. They got annihilated on that line.
And you know what? And they're a good team, and they can wait for this guy to recover from his leg injuries. And, I agree with you, Brian. I think Josh Simmons is a really good football player.
Oh, yeah.
Probably would have been the first tackle. I think he's a bargain at 31 because you're the Chiefs and you can afford to wait for him and get him in the second half of the season. So I'm just going to go with Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle from Ohio State. And now we're back to the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. And I guess I'm going to try to go this in a rotation. I guess, Brian, it's your pick. TV's Blake Wally. No, you can't pick Brian because you're up next for the Cleveland Browns. So, Anthony, you want to pick for the Eagles?
Honestly, I don't want to make them even better. That's the problem.
Even in a mock draft, you can't make the Eagles better. That's funny.
There's some really good players.
Can you zoom in? The letters are the names are too tiny.
Yeah, is that a little better?
Jalen Walker.
Yeah, Jalen Walker. Okay, hang on.
Oh yeah, let me update it. Why is Walker going to be a good pick here?
The value. I hate doing it, but I have no choice.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And they're Georgia.
Who's
Georgia North.
Wait, did you say Jalen Walker?
I think he's gone. Yeah,
Yeah, Walker went 27 to the Ravens.
He went to the Ravens, so he's not there.
Oh, is Jahad Campbell available here?
He went 28.
28.
What's available at defensive end or corner or some safety?
Williams is the edge out of Georgia, and Scorton the edge out of A&M.
Yeah.
James Pierce the edge out of Tennessee too.
Williams.
Mikael Williams, yeah, I agree with that. I don't think they'll hesitate. All right, we move on now to round number 2. Cleveland Browns are up. Brian Engelman, what are you doing with the first pick of the second round? What position are you thinking?
Yeah, well, I reached the end of my draft here, and now I lost my tool to look at all of my available players.
Yeah, because you only picked one round, so. So you gotta restart a draft, and
yeah, I'll do that. How do I get like a screenshot so I can populate? Okay, it's fine. I know who I'm taking here. Easy. It's not even close. The Cleveland Browns are in a quagmire. We've been mired in this quarterback problem situation since Baker wanted the full max deal. The Browns were like, "You're good, but you're not that good. We're into you, but we're not that into you." We sold the farm. 3 first-round picks and a whole bunch of other picks and almost $250 million fully guaranteed to massage Watson out of the Texans. And this guy, when he's been in Cleveland, he's been injured, he's been ineffective, and he's just been generally unliked. And now he blew his Achilles a second time, and the Browns are essentially moving on from Deshaun Watson, who was supposed to be our cornerstone quarterback. We went out and got the prize, allegedly, of that free agency class, and it's been nothing but a bust. So I'm going to go quarterback here. And out of the top available quarterback, I don't have my list. I'll have to repopulate. Who are the top quarterbacks available here?
Will Howard,
Quinn Ewers, Dylan Gabriel, and Riley Leonard are the top guys left.
There's some good quarterbacks there. And I'll tell you, for all of the grief that I get,
just say it.
Will Howard.
We all know who you're fucking taking.
But I get so much grief from the Baker haters saying he's never won a Super Bowl. He's never been to a Super Bowl. It's like, well, then Will Howard's clearly the choice because he went to a championship. He won a championship. Get the winner. Go with Howard. He's 6'4", 237. He's perfectly built for the AFC North. And
I see a lot of Big Ben in him.
What's that?
Big Ben.
He's very Big Ben-like. Exactly. Yeah. So this is going to fix so many problems with the Browns, except I hope we can trade up 1 or 2 spots so we can get that extra 5th year of eligibility.
I think if we use that other configuration where it's a little tighter in, we can see things better. Yeah, that's better. Okay.
Yeah, we just lose somebody on the screen. It's fine. This is better. Yes, I agree.
Well, let's kick Anthony off because he's not a picture. He's just a picture.
Hey, Mike, if you could. He's like, no, I'll show you something.
Yeah, that's okay. All right. Yes. What did you want?
No, I was just going to say, if it's possible, while they're making their next picks, if you could scroll up to 1, I'm going to do another draft and try to populate so I can get my stuff going. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what I'm doing now.
Trying to catch up. Meantime, Jim, you're up with. Do you want the Giants again, or do you want to do the Titans instead, and we'll have Blake do the Giants?
Yeah, I'll have Blake do the Giants.
New York Giants in the first round. The Giants took Abdul Carter, the edge from Penn State. Ooh. They still have quarterback listed as a team need, offensive tackle, offensive guard. They got their edge. Here's a list of players available. What do you think about the Giants situation here at 34?
Well, let's see. Given the options here, the way I'm looking at the cheat sheet, probably going to go offensive line. That might be a reach, but is Tyler Booker available?
He is still available, the Alabama guard, plug and play.
Okay, let's go with him. That's probably going to be my last pick for the afternoon.
Okay, you're going to slip out on us? Thank you for coming. Well, Yeah, you don't have enough. There's no Vikings pick in the second round, so you don't have to stick around for that. So
Yeah, no, it's been good. Thanks for the invite. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Hey, that was a good show last night, Blake.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
All right.
that.
Let's all say goodbye to TV's Blake Wally. You rock.
All right,
Blake,
everybody.
have a great afternoon.
Blake,
And,
Blake, can you pitch your show real quick on your way out? Tell people where to find your stuff.
I do the Eccentric Perspective show Tuesday and Thursday, 4:00 Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to catch a live stream. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much. All right, Brian, gentlemen, Jim, Mike. Good luck. Good luck to all your teams tomorrow. Should be fun. Take care.
All right. Tennessee Titans, formerly the Houston Oilers, took a quarterback, Cam Ward, with the first overall pick. They still need wide receiver, edge, corner, linebacker. Anthony, why don't you do the Tennessee Titans? What do you think?
Can you look at receiver real quick, please?
Absolutely, you could do that. Yep. Offense, wide receiver. There's lots of good ones left.
Jaden Higgins.
Jaden Higgins from Iowa State. Wow, why do you rate him over the other guys?
The Cyclones.
They need a big body receiver. That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go next. The Jacksonville Jaguars in the first round. The Jaguars took Armand Membu, the offensive tackle from Missouri. I'm still in a mode where I'm building around Trevor Lawrence, and there's a lot of good talent here. There's some good offensive linemen that I think should have gone already. There's some good defensive linemen, but I'm looking at maybe a tight end. I'm looking at a running back. I'm looking at a wide receiver. I'm looking to get another weapon, and the guy that I really like here actually is Trey Harris from Ole Miss. He's not the fastest receiver out there, but he's big and he's strong. And I'm going to go with Trey Harris to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, Brian or Jim? Jim, I guess you're next. You're picking for the Raiders.
The Raiders.
The Raiders.
Who did the Raiders take in the first round?
Raiders took Ashton Genty, the running back. That was my pick.
Here, Mike, can you scroll up for a second? I will get caught up in like 60 seconds if I can.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you.
You want me to read them to you?
Yeah, actually, I'm at Abdul Carter. Go.
You are okay. Will Campbell.
Got it.
Armand Membu.
Got it.
Ashton Genty.
Got it.
Jahade Barron. He's down the list a little bit.
Got it.
Tetroya McMillan.
Got it.
Shadur Sanders.
Done.
Tyler Warren.
Here he goes.
Mason Graham.
Heck of a pick.
Matthew Golden.
And he's gone.
Trey Amos to the Dolphins, corner.
Tramos. Where's he at?
Trey Amos. He's a cornerback.
Number 34. Okay, got it.
Colston Loveland.
Got it.
Mike Green.
Done.
Shamar Stewart.
This is a nice recap. Done.
Will Johnson went to the Bengals.
There we go.
Gray Zabel to the Seahawks.
I got to scroll for him. Gray Zabel to the Seahawks. Yes.
Malachi Starks, the safety, to Tampa Bay.
There we go.
Travion Henderson, the running back, to Ohio State.
Oh, what a great pick. Right there.
Denver.
What a great pick. Okay.
Jalen Milroe to the Steelers.
Oh, where's Milroe? He's down here.
He's a quarterback. He's way down. Yeah, he's down.
40. Okay, got it.
Kenneth Grant to the Chargers.
Number 37. Got it.
Emeka Ekuba, the wide receiver, to the Packers.
Abuka's so good. Yes.
Nick Emanawari to the Vikings.
Gone.
Donovan Jackson to the Texans.
Got it.
Jackson Dart, the quarterback, to Ole Miss.
Got it.
Jalen Walker, if he falls this far, I think the Ravens snap him up.
Oh, absolutely. The number 12.
Jahad Campbell to the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle, to Oregon.
Nice.
Josh Simmons, the offensive tackle, to Kansas City.
Gone.
Mikael Williams, the edge, to Philadelphia. I think that's a easy pick. Will Howard, first pick in the second round, to Ohio State.
I got to scroll down to find him. What a shame he's ranked so low.
He's like 104. He's just go to offense and then click on quarterback, and he'll be right in there.
Yep, there we go. Got him.
Tyler Booker, the offensive guard, to New York Giants.
Okay.
Jaden Higgins, a wide receiver to Tennessee.
Higgins.
Jaden Higgins, wide receiver, Iowa State.
Where is Higgins?
Yeah,
Jaden Higgins, number 66. Got it.
Trey Harris, wide receiver from Ole Miss, goes to the Jaguars, and Jim is up with the Raiders.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Great job.
All right.
Oh, who went to the Jaguars, you said?
Trey Harris, a wide receiver from Ole Miss.
Oh, I put him on Tennessee. Who did Tennessee have?
Jaden Higgins, a wide receiver from Iowa State. You can flip-flop those, just so you know, because they're both off the board.
Okay, I think I'm missing one somewhere, but it's fine. That's close enough.
Okay. All right. Jim, Raiders. Team needs are listed as corner, running back, wide receiver, safety, defensive tackle, and they certainly met their need for a running back in the first round.
Cornerback, huh? Cornerback, running back.
Yeah, they went
cornerback. Yeah, you already have Janty, so you can take running back off the board.
Wide receiver, safety, defensive tackle. You want me to do this pick, Jim? Because I have something I'm going to do. I know what I want to do.
Yeah, go ahead and take it.
All right, we'll flip you to the Patriots, and then.
Oh, I had someone for the Patriots.
Okay, well then.
Since I'm back, I'm going to do my Dolphins. You guys can do the picks before that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Dolphins. Are you guys in the second round?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
We're 48.
Right. But So
you then Brian, me, then back to Jim.
Brian, you do Patriots, and then Jim will do Bears.
Yes.
And then Anthony will do Saints.
Perfect.
And then somebody will do the Bears. All right. So Raiders, because of the fact that they have this injury to the defensive tackle Wilkins, that is a concern. I think that after getting Genty in the first round, they flip around and go to defensive tackle in the second round. But I'm going to go way down. I'm going to go to a guy that is a real wild card in this whole thing. But there are people who say he is a monster. He is a game wrecker. He's rated 98th in this draft. His name is Ty Robinson from Nebraska. He's quick. He's powerful. He's 6'5", 288. But when you watch him, he makes monster plays all over the place. I'm going to go with a crazy pick. Pete Carroll's going to take Ty Robinson. Why? Because Pete Carroll loves to have people talk about the crazy shit he does in the draft. All right.
The guy I thought you were going to talk about was Alfred Collins. That's the guy. Yeah. I'm like, God, you screwed me.
Yeah, no. But I think Ty Robinson is going to go a lot higher than people think. And so we're there. Okay. Patriots are up next. Brian, you go ahead. I'm going to grab a water, and I'll be right back. So, Brian, talk your way through the Patriots, and I'll be back in a flash.
All right. Patriots are up here. Man, I do have an idea of who I would like to take here. It's not listed as one of their needs. And I'm just seeing Omarion Hampton slipping this far. And I'm having a hard time passing up on him. Can either of you guys talk me out of taking Omarion Hampton?
I can't.
Jim, it says offensive tackle, wide receiver, edge, guard, corner. That's a lot of other needs besides running back there.
There's too much value there.
That's how I'm reading it, because obviously I took Travion Henderson above Omarion Hampton, and that's why I'm going to do it. I'm going to take Omarion Hampton.
Yeah,
and the Bears are going to be really pissed off about that. They're going to be one pick away from going, damn it, that would have been a perfect pick for us.
You can never go wrong by investing in players to help your quarterback when you draft a quarterback with the 3rd overall pick, right? You can never go wrong with that. So good for you.
Agreed. Okay, so that was my pick. Move over to the Bears. Is that back to Jim or you?
Jim, you're up for the Bears. And then Anthony's going to do the Saints.
Okay. Well, the offensive tackle, they're going to need to protect that quarterback. And, the Bears are historically a defensive team. I'll go ahead and take Kenneth Banks off the board.
Yeah.
Out of Texas.
Yeah. I can't see Banks lasting this long.
No way.
But it could happen because it depends on how teams prioritize their needs and the quarterbacks and all that stuff. But I think that's a great. If you get that pick, man,
that's value.
Yeah.
What are the needs for the Bears?
The biggest needs for the Bears. Well, we're on the Saints right now.
Oh, the Saints. My mistake.
It's
Saints.
guard, wide receiver, corner, running back, edge.
Can you go to guard, please?
Yeah, sure. Offensive guard still available. Savalinia, Wyatt Millam, Tate Ratledge.
Millam.
Wyatt Millam. Why do you like him? Out of curiosity.
The injury for Tate Ratledge. Injury scared me a little bit with offensive linemen, and he had I think it was a torn ACL or something. What was the report, Brian? Was it torn ACL? Did he tear his ACL?
I don't
Tate
remember.
Ratledge?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top, but it's enough to. We saw it with the Ohio State offensive lineman. He slipped all the way where he did. Could have been the number one, offensive line pick. People are scared of people coming off of injuries. There's no doubt about it. And that was the thing about Abdul Carter. That stress foot issue. He could be a Hall of Fame potential talent, but if he's injured. So
and the reason why I'm hesitant with Savania a little bit, to me, he's a power gap scheme guy. I don't think he has the feet to do like some of these teams are doing a lot of outside zone, and I don't think he has the feet to do outside zone. I think he's more of a power gap. Like he's a specific scheme fit type of guard.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys agree with me on that, or am I being harsh?
I mean, I'm not. Don't get into it that deep, but yeah, Milliam is probably as good a player as you're going to get right there, and you're in a situation where on the interior offensive line or on the offensive line period in the second round, all the guys are pretty much the same, right? They're kind of looking like it just depends on which style you want. Do you want a red card? Or do you want a blue card? That's kind of what you're looking at there.
Mm-hmm.
They all have the same potential upside and everything. So, all right, Jim has left us, stepped away. We're now up to the Bears.
Another pick for the Bears.
I'm going to go with Brian. You're going to pick for the Bears. Their needs are offensive tackle, running back, safety, edge, linebacker. They've taken Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle. Jim made that pick. Tyler Warren, the tight end, went in the first round. So who are you going to pick for the Bears? Two offensive players. You're going to go defense or you're going to stick with offense? What are you going to do here? You got Nick Scorton, the edge from Texas A&M, and Pierce. You've got Josh Connerly, the offensive tackle from Oregon, but you just took a tackle. Wide receivers. Who are you going to take?
Well, I am going to go with an edge. I'm going to take Scorton out of Texas A&M here.
Yeah, makes
pretty good value at 41. I like I said, I'm upset. I'm still fuming that the Patriots took Omarion Hampton because that would have been the perfect fit in the Bears offense. So, I'm settling.
Okay, so I'm the Jets. Basically, I had I had a situation with the Jets where we went with the corner first. If you look at the first round pick at number 7, we went with Jahadi Barron. I think that was Anthony's pick. Good, interesting pick. They still have needs at offensive tackle, defensive tackle, wide receiver. They've invested in Justin Fields. They could look at quarterback. There are some interesting quarterbacks in here, but I think most of the ones that would really tickle their nuts have probably already gone. So I think the Jets look at this as well. We'll pick up somebody in the 3rd or 4th round, worry about quarterback next year. I think they go back to just sort of solidifying their offensive line. I think Josh Connerly, the offensive tackle from Oregon, goes to the Jets at 42. So now we're up to 43. Santa Clara. Jim, you did them the first round. Anthony, you haven't made a pick in a while, so let's go back to you. In the first round, you took Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan, went to San Francisco. So what are you thinking here?
Can you go to receiver, please?
We'll go to offense and wide
Luther
receiver.
Burden, Missouri, Jalen Noel, Iowa State, Jalen Royals, Utah State, Kyle Williams, Washington State.
Honestly, I don't care that it's a reach. Savion Williams.
Savion Williams, a wide receiver from TCU. What? Yeah, 6'3", 222. All right. Why do you like him in particular?
Height, weight, speed.
Okay.
He's got the tools that you're looking to coach up.
Yep.
Okay.
You can coach up the route running. Size, speed, and length, you can't coach. Do you guys
can't
agree?
level that up no matter what you do. You can do bench, you can get better physical conditioning, but you cannot grow. You cannot get more height. That is for sure. Okay. That makes sense to me.
Jim, the Dallas Cowboys are your pick. We went with Matthew Golden, the wide receiver from Texas, with the first-round pick. The needs are listed as running back, edge, offensive guard, corner, wide receiver. Who do you like? There's all kinds. There's 2 good edges right there that are good values. What do you think when you look at it for the 44th pick?
Yeah, I go defense for the Cowboys. They're probably James Pierce out of Tennessee. I'm not real aware of Donovan. Pronounce that for me, Mike, would you? Oh,
yeah, Ezaraku. I'm sorry. What, Jim?
Yeah, who came in with that? Anthony Ezaraku?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, just go with
Pierce. Pierce is good. They're both 6'5", 250. So, all right, Colts are up. I'm going to take the Colts. Team needs tight end, offensive center, offensive guard, linebacker, quarterback. They took Colston Loveland, the tight end, in the first round. I think you're still looking for an interior offensive lineman. I go through the list. I don't see anybody I really like here. And based on where they're ranked, I guess you just got to go with the best player available. You can always use more pass rushers. You can always use more weapons. I just think that Ezaraku, I guess, is the guy I'm going to follow up. The run on edges starts because you may as well take a pass rusher. All right, Falcons are up. We took the pass rusher in the first round, Mike Green, the edge from Marshall. Needs are corner, tackle, edge, safety, linebacker, mostly on the defensive side. All defensive, actually. Brian, what do you think for the Atlanta Falcons here?
Well, my screen has failed me, good sir. What were the positions again?
Okay.
The biggest position of need for the Falcons?
Corner is number 1. You've got Siobhan Ravel sitting there. Xavier Watts, the safety from Notre Dame. Arizona Cardinals are there.
I'll take Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky.
Maxwell Harrison, the corner out of Kentucky.
To help them.
All right, Arizona Cardinals. I think, did you do the Cardinals, Anthony? You already did the Cardinals, right?
Yes.
So Shamar Stewart was the edge. Needs are listed as edge, tackle, wide receiver, guard. Jim, you want to take a stab, or should I just do them? I'll just take the Cardinals. I'm gonna take Luther Burden, the wide receiver. Add somebody to Marvin Harrison Jr. and the tight end, whose name escapes me, that they just spent big money.
I'm doing my Dolphins.
McBride.
Yeah, Trey McBride.
Trey McBride.
Yeah, good player.
Yes, good size
All
player.
right. Anthony, what do you think
Dolphins.
about your
go to corner or safe? Can you look at the corner and safety, please?
Okay, I know who I'd pick. Xavier Watts at safety, Andrew Makuba, Winston Ransom at corner. You've got Siobhan Ravel, Azare Thomas, Benjamin Morrison, Darian Porter, Jacob Parrish. A lot of good players.
Dorian Strong, Virginia Tech.
Dorian Strong, the corner from Virginia Tech, goes to your Dolphins. So you got Trey Amos and Dorian Strong, 2 corners. You're pretty short up.
I'm doing this because we're going to be trading. You guys saw the rumors that we're trading Jalen Ramsey, right?
Yeah. So, Jim.
Oh, yeah, he's a good locker room guy.
Jim, the Cincinnati Bengals. Who are you taking for the Bengals at this point? Remaining needs. Could they take in the first round? Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan, value pick.
Yeah.
They need to build along both the offensive and defensive lines. So what are you thinking here at 49?
Boy, everybody needs a defensive edge rusher here, huh?
Sorry, let me go back to all. Tyleik Williams, Mason Taylor, Landon Jackson.
Well, we've already taken 6 or 7 Ohio State players already off the board, right, Brian?
Right.
Yeah.
Might as well make it 8.
Yeah, let's make it 8. Let's go with Williams.
Out of Ohio State. Yeah, because he's not an edge to replace the guy that wants to be traded, whose name escapes me. But
if you scroll down to 55, JT Tuimoloau at the edge from Ohio State as well. He's another badass.
How about Jack Sawyer?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of good picks still.
Yeah. All right, I'm doing the Seahawks at 50. Jim, you're doing them at 52. I'm just gonna look. I'm gonna take a quarterback to get behind Sam Darnold and build, and I'm just gonna go and take the guy that's left, the guy that I've liked all along for the Seahawks. Quinn Ewers out of Texas.
Woo.
I think he's big time. I think he plays big in big games. I could not have been more impressed with him against the Seahawks.
Do the injuries scare you?
The Washington Huskies. The injuries bother me. They don't scare me, but they bother me because he's going to sit for a year or two, and he's also the same style quarterback as Darnold in the sense that he's a basic big white pocket passer. So I actually just heard Steve Sarkisian, his coach, on Sirius NFL Radio on the way over, and he gushed about the guy, and he said all the same things that I agree with, which is that, to me, when I watch a quarterback in college, I'm looking at his head. I'm looking to see if he's making his reads, if he stays cool under pressure, and if he plays big in big games. And you got to say that about Quinn Ewers.
Is he a scheme-dependent quarterback at the next level, though? Does he have to play in a certain scheme to be successful?
No, he's one of the better deep ball passers in this draft, which is something we've lacked a little bit since Russell Wilson left. We're not too serious, Deb. This is football. Damn it.
Yeah, I would say Deb is being not serious enough, perhaps.
Yeah, Deb, send nudes, Deb, and just knock it off. All right. Who's next? Brian. Did you do the Broncos before, Brian? You did it.
I did. Remind me who we took in the first round.
Rayon Henderson, the running back. And top needs are running back, wide receiver, linebacker, corner, tight end. I see a guy that I think fits there, but it's your pick, Brian. What are you doing for the Denver Broncos?
Oh my God. You know what? Could I do the most ridiculous thing ever?
Yes. I'm the guy who's picked like 5 quarterbacks in this draft, so yes.
I am so tempted to take Quinshon Judkins and team him up with Travion Henderson in the NFL. I've never seen a college duo of running backs end up on the same team. I can't do it. I can't do that. No. Judkins is a badass.
And I have a question. You've seen Quinshon and Judkins, these two running backs combo. Are they at the same level as Clinton Portis and Frank Gore with Miami?
Man, they're good. They're like, you don't get RB1 or RB2 at The Ohio State University by accident. Like the school of running backs. You can go back to Eddie George. You can go back a little bit further.
Don't let Georgia fans hear you say that.
Hey, look, I love Georgia running backs. I'm a Nick Chubb fan, but no, I'm as tempted as I am. I feel like both of these running backs would benefit from having an increased workload. Although I think Henderson is perhaps the better 3-down back than Judkins for blocking alone. But I'm going to go ahead and get Jalen Noel, wide receiver, Iowa State. I want to get the Broncos as much help as possible. We got them a running back. We're getting
with a running back and a wide receiver in the first 2 picks, and you've helped Bo Nix a lot, and that's who you got to build around.
I'll do the Seahawks, actually.
Well, I think we're going to let Jim do the Seahawks.
No, Jim's going to do the Seahawks.
Oh, the thing, Anthony, I'm not sure if you're aware of, these two are Seahawks super fans.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought one of them was a Cowboys fan.
No, they're both making fun of the Cowboys.
Jim. Okay, Jim, I see 2 guys who intrigue me on this list, but it's up to you. You got the 52nd pick. In the first round, we took Gray Zabel. That was your pick. In the second round, we took Quinn Ewers, solved our quarterback of the future problem that we've had for 4 off seasons now. It's finally solved. Pick 52 is almost a bonus pick. You also have 2 picks in the third round. What are you doing for our Seattle Seahawks at 52?
Well, I like Xavier Watts here, but do we really need a safety? I mean, offensive tackle, wide receiver. We've already got our guard, right?
Yep.
I have a question for both of you Seahawks fans. Right. Being that you guys like length and height and length in your receiver, in your DB, wouldn't a guy like Kevin Winston be a better fit because of the traits that?
But I don't see a tremendous need at either corner or safety right now. Here's the thing. Jim's going to make his own pick here, but if I'm sitting on this pick, I'm like, I can't believe Xavier Watts is here. And I don't need a safety, but he's such a good player and so instinctive that I'm really thinking I like him. I also think we haven't yet added on the offensive side. We've made 2 offensive picks. I'm tempted to go defense, but there's so many good defensive tackles in this draft. I can do that in the 3rd round with 2 defensive linemen. I'm really intrigued by Mason Taylor at LSU. So, God, I don't know what I would do here between those guys, between Taylor and Watts. This would be a tough pick for me. I'd have to just sort of look at my future at corner and safety and see whether to decide. But I think we need a pass catcher. I think we need another guy to take more pressure off Sam Darnold. So that's this to me, it'd be Watts or Taylor here. One or the other.
Let's go Taylor here, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. I think we need more offense here.
A 6'5", 250-pound tight end who can block a little bit, but he's got the run after the catch element, and that is going to complement Jackson Smith and the Jigba. I'm with you. I think if I had to make this pick, I'd pick Mason Taylor.
Yeah, I can't believe Watts is still there on the board.
No.
When I see Mason Taylor, he's Randy McMichael with better receiving skills, to be honest.
That's a great analogy. Great comp. I like that. All right. I guess, Anthony, you're going to do the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Or did you do Tampa Bay the first round? You did Tampa already, right? Did you pick Starks?
Remind us who Tampa took. I thought maybe I took
Malachi Starks.
Yeah, I chose that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so let's have somebody else do Tampa. Brian, why don't you do Tampa?
Okay, so they took Starks.
Yeah, in the first round. Safety.
Okay, so safety's off the board. They need cornerback. They need edge.
Edge, linebacker, defensive tackle.
All right, look, value pick. We're sitting at 53, and we got the number 26 prospect on the board. Their number 1 need is defensive tackle. I'll take Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss.
Oh, I think he already went.
Oh,
That's
shoot.
Yeah, he went. Nolan went in the first round.
That must have been the one where I got 1 pick off, and I had to fill it in. Okay.
Where did he go? I think Anthony put him somewhere. Where did Nolan go?
No,
Walter,
I didn't choose Nolan. Someone else did.
That was Jim, maybe, to the Commanders or the whatever they are.
Yeah, the Seahawks, the Redskins.
Redskins. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so then let me change it. Siobhan Ravel of East Carolina, cornerback, is on the board, right?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They do have a need at corner also, and they get a corner and a safety with the first 2 picks. That makes a lot of sense. He's fallen too far. Packers are up. I guess it's my turn. Packers in the first round got Emeka Egbuka, the great wide receiver out of Ohio State. They also have a need at edge. I'd like to get a pass rusher. I do kind of like some of the pass rushers, but I think another guy whose value right now, Xavier Watts. I can't believe he's still here. He's not listed as a need. So I guess as much as I like him, I'm going to have to go with Landon Jackson, the edge, because that's what it says the Packers really need. So that's where they go. Chargers are up. Anthony,
I'll do Chargers.
Why don't you do the Chargers?
Yeah,
Needs are tackle, tight end, wide receiver, corner, and center.
Who did they choose in the first round?
They took Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle from Michigan, in round 1.
Diego Supercharger.
Can you go to, let's see, running tackle, please?
Offensive tackle, okay?
Yeah.
Ursary from Minnesota is still available. Marcus Mabo is still out there.
I like the kid from Boston College.
Ozzy Trapilo. Okay.
Yeah.
Ozzy Trapilo, the offensive tackle from Boston College. And this is interesting because last year they took the guy from Notre Dame high. Now they've gone 2 bookend tackles. That's good stuff. So, all right.
Yeah. Did they draft Joe Alt?
Joe Alt, was the guy they took last year. Okay. Bills. I'm going to do Bills. And yes, tight ends, the right fit is important. I'm going to do Bills. You're dirty, Deb. You're dirty. I'm going to do Bills, and then Jim, you're going to do Carolina after that. So,
oh boy,
the Bills looking at corner, defensive tackle, edge, linebacker. Again, I'm just going to say Xavier Watts because I can't see him really lasting this long. I think his instincts are fabulous. If I wasn't really determined to get a long-term answer at quarterback, I would have taken him at 52 or 50 for the Seahawks. So even though he's not a corner, he's a safety. I'm going to go with Xavier Watts.
He can play slot.
Yeah, I'm going to load him up. I'm going to load up for the Bills. All right, Jim, the Panthers. What do you think? For the Panthers, top needs are listed as corner, center, safety, edge, wide receiver, and we took Teteroya McMillan, the wide receiver, in round 1. What are we doing in round 2?
What's left here? Corner. Well, we got Florida State. Pronounce that name for me, Anthony.
Azarad Thomas.
Azarad
Thomas. Yeah, let's go with Azarad Thomas, Florida State.
All right. Houston Texans are up. Brian, what do you think about the Houston Texans? Their needs are listed as offensive line. They took an offensive lineman. They need a wide receiver. They need a defensive tackle. What are you doing here if you are the Houston Texans?
Well, how about let's take Jonah out of Arizona, offensive guard. That is one of their big needs, and you got to keep their quarterback on his feet this year.
Yeah,
last year they took a big step backward because he was taking a lot of hits.
CJ Stroud. I don't think he took a big step backward because he's still spectacular. But yeah, I agree with you.
No, he wasn't terrible, but the line was failing him. His wide receivers were injured. It was a perfect storm of not your year, kid. It ain't your year. But anchoring that line a little bit will help all of that stabilize because he was getting hit a lot.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take the Ravens. They took Jalen Walker, the value linebacker, at 27. Unfortunately, the top need here is still a linebacker. Look, I think that they are a team that builds around the trenches, the base stuff in the first couple of rounds. The guy here who catches my eye is Ursary, the offensive tackle from Minnesota. He could play guard in the NFL, or he could play tackle. I think, again, they're going to go with building block type guys, and I'm going to have them taking Ursary from Minnesota in the 59th with the 59th pick. Jim, the Detroit Lions.
Is there an offensive coordinator left on the board here?
Yeah, no, there isn't. No. But their needs are edge, guard, corner, safety, wide receiver, and they took Jahad Campbell, the linebacker, in the first round, another value pick.
Well, it looks like there's another Ohio State player on the board here.
Yeah.
Wow.
JT Tuimoloau. Yeah.
Dude, he's good.
Yeah. Good edge rusher. Yeah.
You like him?
Let's go with JT.
Oh, that's such a good call because of that big injury to their defense last year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You can never have too many healthy badasses on your defense.
Aiden Hutchinson was best edge guy last year in the NFL before he got hurt, and they would have won a Super Bowl if he hadn't gotten hurt, I think, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. It would be Anthony's turn, but he did the Commanders in the first round. So, Brian, you want to do the Washington Redskins?
Remind me who they took and what the needs are. I see the needs. Yeah. Who did they take the first round?
They took Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss. That was an Anthony pick in the first round.
Okay, so, and I think that see, I'm cursing the fact that you took JT Tuimoloau because that fits exactly what we need.
You have Jack there.
Yeah, there's a couple players here. Let me go ahead and take Carson Schweisinger, linebacker out of UCLA.
All right, good player. And again, building on the defensive side of the ball, that's where they had the lack last year. Buffalo Bills, Anthony, I guess this is your pick here, right?
Oh, who did they choose in the first round, please?
They took Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle, and Xavier Watts, the safety. That was my pick in the second round. This is their second round pick.
Okay, can you go to corner?
I can go to corner. Morrison's there. It's Alexander.
Denzel Burke, Ohio State. Jacob Parrish, Darian Porter.
Since you're an Ohio State fan, Brian, who do you like better at corner, Burks or Hancock?
Oh
Hancock,
man,
6 feet.
I would take Denzel Burke, but
Over Hancock needs way too much development, or
I mean, look, you're not a starter on a national champion team because you suck. You're a good player if you're getting drafted in the second. They're both very good players, just like Quinshawn Judkins and Travion Henderson. They're, give them a little bit more time to shine.
Did they already get a safety? You said.
Yeah, we took Xavier Watts with 56.
I know this sounds like a reach. Za Frazier from UTSA.
Ooh.
Where is he at? Let me search.
Za Frazier, corner, UTSA. All right.
Wow.
I think at
one team to love
this point, we're just throwing Jackson darts here. Right?
Yeah. There you go. Okay,
wait. But out of curiosity, how did you go and pick him? He was the number. He was far down.
No, I don't trust. These rankings are off for PFF and stuff like that. So the ranking I'm going off of is ESPN. My ranking in my head is ESPN, and they have them ranked as a pick. They put a corner they think would be drafted in the late second, early third round, and stuff like that. So I'm basing my stuff off of ESPN's rankings and stuff like that.
And every single team out of the 32 have a totally different system of how they rate their play.
Right.
It's not like we're just looking at Mel Kiper going, well, what does he say? Okay, then I'm going to do that, kid.
Right.
It's you got to trust your football instincts of watching the game.
Yeah, you have to decide who you trust.
Yeah.
In these things. And it's like, you don't know. I like a guy named Rob Staden who has Seahawks Draft Blog. I think he's a good evaluator. He's always finding guys that are good. I also like Tony Pauline, who's over at Sportskeeda. They have an identical simulator to this, but his ratings are completely different than these. So, it's the best thing to do is go to the mock draft aggregators and the big board aggregators. You just do some searches.
What happened?
It's crazy.
I didn't hear anything you guys said. Sorry.
Okay, well, we were just talking about how do you pick? How do you decide who you trust? So that's where we're at. All right, Jim Mitchell, the Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock. This is your last pick. They took Josh Simmons, the Ohio State offensive tackle, the developmental project. It says guard, which Simmons could fit, defensive tackle, edge, offensive tackle, safety are all possibilities for the Kansas City Chiefs. Who are you taking out of the guys that are left?
Well, so doesn't appear they need any type of running backs or anything like that. Otherwise, I'd take that other Ohio State player. But
oh man, I couldn't imagine a universe where Quinshawn gets to the third round, but I'll take him in the third round if we ever did a third round. We won't today, but in real life, hell yeah, I'd love Quinshawn in the third round because we need a running back.
Yeah. Wow.
The Chiefs, you're a Super Bowl team. You're a dynastic team.
You took
Do they need a receiver?
Jalen Royals is sitting out there.
Jalen Royals.
Kyle Williams, Jack Beck, or Besh.
Jack
Besh, TCU. Tez
yeah,
Johnson, Oregon.
Let's go Royals wide receiver. I think probably Kels is on his last year here.
Yeah.
So,
but if that's the case, let me tell you about Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green, where I graduated from.
Don't they have? I thought they have a backup tight end that the team likes that they feel is going to be the replacement.
Like their step-in is already set there at number 2.
Yeah.
You went to Bowling Green, Brian?
I did. Yes, I did.
Wow. I guess you've been to the Corvette Museum, huh?
Oh, you mean Bowling Green, Kentucky? No, Bowling Green, Ohio. Bowling Green, Ohio.
Bowling Green, Ohio. I didn't know there was
State University, where Urban Meyer got his head coaching start.
Oh, no.
Oh, you know who Bowling Green's head coach is for the football team now?
No.
Urban?
Former Buckeye.
Jim Tressel.
Nope, Heisman winner. Eddie George is the head coach of the Bowling Green Falcon football team now.
Eddie George.
Eddie
Wow. George. Awesome. Houston Oilers, huh?
Houston Oilers.
All right, guys.
Eagles.
The needs for the Eagles were edge, guard, corner, offensive tackle, defensive tackle. We went edge with Mikael Williams in the first round at 32. I'm going to come back and go offense. Offensive line and defensive line are what the Eagles are built on. They reinforce that. Judkins is very tempting here because I want to back up Saquon.
Oh, man.
I have some insurance if he gets hurt.
Yeah.
Saquon was last year. I'm not going to do that because I've got several picks. I think the Eagles have 2 or 3 picks in the 3rd round and 2 or 3 picks in the 4th round. They're loaded. I can pick up our running back a little bit later. So I'm going to go with Tate Ratledge, the offensive guard / center from Georgia. Pedigree school, pedigree player, a guy I would love to see on the Seahawks, even if they got Gray Zabel in the 1st round. So Tate Ratledge is the final pick in the draft. They'd go offensive line and defensive line. Pretty spectacular stuff. There are our full results, and I'm going to do a screen cap.
Yeah, we got Apple Shift 3. And then
down.
that's the 1st round. We got to do 2nd round.
We just did the 2nd round, yes. So.
Oh, I mean, the screenshot. Are you able to get the 2nd round on the screen?
I will do the 2nd round, but I got to post this one first. And I'm going to @ you. Do we have a Strictly Football X account?
Yes, we're at TNAM Football.
TNAM Football. Strictly Football.
Is there a guy? Is there guys you guys like that nobody's talking about, like at any position, that you think should be ranked a little bit higher?
I think the Nebraska tackle that I think I mocked to the Raiders in the 2nd round. I think he goes way higher than people are thinking. People have him rated as like
Wisconsin. You mean?
Yeah, Ty. What's his name? Where did I have him? Ty Robinson. Yeah, he's a game wrecker. The guy's a game wrecker, like Braden Fisk was last year for Florida State, and I really do think that he goes a lot earlier than people think. And they're going to be like, him? Why are you taking him? So,
if there's a universe where Quinshon Judkins is on the board in the 3rd round, that's a huge win for somebody right there. Which quarterbacks did we not get to? My screen reset, so I'm just trying to go off memory.
Kyle, we never drafted Kyle McCord, did we, out of Syracuse?
No.
Former Buckeye quarterback.
Yeah,
just
Kyle
like Joe Burrow.
Kyle McCord's a good player.
He is, and he was not good enough to do it for the Buckeyes. We had to get rid of him.
Wow.
Like the dad last year after bowing out.
Everything with you is the Buckeyes, bro.
Well, what I was saying about Kyle McCord last year, he wasn't able to get the big win when they needed it, so they brought in Will Howard, and the dad for Quinn what the hell's his name? I just said it, from Syracuse. The other guy.
Kyle McCord.
Good Lord. Kyle McCord. Too many player names bouncing around in my skull. Kyle McCord's dad said, I want a commitment that my boy is going to be the starter. And coach is like, nope, we're not doing that. He's like, okay, I'm out, because he could read the writing on the wall. And it was Ryan Day's last chance probably to get this right. And he got a nice contract extension from it for winning the championship. But people were calling for his job after losing to Michigan several years in a row. I mean,
not anymore, bro.
Not anymore. Now he got paid. So yeah, I think Quinshon.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, thanks for joining, Anthony.
You're welcome, Anthony. And you know what's going to be really interesting? Wouldn't it be hilarious if the draft came out really close to what we ended up doing today? That would be absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, and people forget the draft is a crapshoot. You don't.
Yeah.
The perfect example. There's a few Hall of Famers that were drafted in the 17th round when they used to have 17 rounds in the NFL draft. Half of the Hall of Famers weren't top draft picks.
Yeah, but it was an inexact science back then. They really didn't know what they were doing. They're much better at evaluating.
But you understand what I'm saying.
But yeah. I mean, there are Hall of Famers taken, that were the 328th player taken. It wouldn't even be drafted today, and there's Hall of Famers. So they missed a lot. I missed a lot of guys back in those days.
Have a good day, guys.
All right, thank you. Thanks for joining.
Brian, I got to go. Thank you to everybody. Yeah, thank you for a great, fun exercise. It'd be funny to see how close we are tomorrow. We will be. I just tweeted them out to Strictly Football.
Yes.
Round 1 and round 2, so that way we can keep track of how we do.
You're gonna print a copy and bring it to the bar, Mike?
That's a great idea, Jim.
It's a great drinking game. You do a shot every time you make one, or every time you miss one. Do you take a shot?
I'll be
join us tomorrow, Brian. I'll send you a Greyhound ticket.
I'll think about it. I will strongly think about it. And Mike, anything you want to tell people about to check out your stuff, where to follow you?
No, this is just fun. This is our football thing. I just love doing it, and I'm glad I found somebody I can do a football show with.
It always leaves me energized. I love
because Seahawks Twitter hates me because I'm always telling them the truth, and they hate that. So
every time I talk football, it leaves me energized. I love this sport so much.
Jim, you can follow me on LennonandMarks.com.
LennonandMarks.com. Heck yeah. All right. Well, I will take that at TNAM Football on X, and I'll also share it at the Unhappy Hour _ on X for the sports show. And of course, just find the New American Media in all of the places, along with the Unhappy Hour and Strictly Football. All right. So I'm going to sign out here. Gentlemen, enjoy draft day, and let's tweet during the draft. Tag us, and we'll tag you and have some fun.
We will do that. That sounds good. And I'll be drinking beer with Jim. We'll be drinking Dos Equis.
The skirt says we're on for tomorrow night, Mike.
Oh, the skirt. All right.
Yeah.
So 5:00-ish, we're meeting at the bar. Dave and I'll be there a little bit early. At least I will. I'm not.
Well, yeah, a little bit early because draft night. I mean, it's going to be SRO. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. All right.
All right. To be continued.
4:45 tomorrow. We will be there. All right. Brian.
Thanks, guys.